What's up, everybody? Welcome to Kinda Funny Games Daily for Monday, April 23rd, 2018. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside the busiest lady in the business, Andrea Renee.
What's good, Greg?
Your outfit once again, as usual.
Thank you.
I want you to know I've been head down on work, and it didn't even occur to me that I haven't looked at you since you've come in today. You've walked by, we've had a conversation, but I've been in the screen doing my stuff. I look over, this is a lovely ensemble. I like this shirt quite a bit.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
It's I was feeling kind of springy today since the weather's been so lovely here in the San Francisco Bay Area.
Did you do anything yesterday to celebrate the good weather? Did you go outside?
I stayed in my studio and pulled clips for a video I'm putting together.
There you go. Wow, what a glamorous life we all lead as content creators. Did you play any games this weekend? Did you have any time?
I did. I am so close to being completely done with God of War.
Like platinuming it?
So here's the thing. In order to platinum it, as you know, you have to get all of those stupid ravens.
Right. And
I'm just like, I don't know.
That is the one. This is no spoilers. Don't worry. There's ravens, collectible ravens in the game or whatever. That's one of my things of like, I'm going to platinum this game. I've been knocking the trophies out, making great progress.
Yeah.
But that is the one I'm saving for last. It'll just be, all right, let's put on a podcast and watch a PS4 trophies video and go to these things and like, it's always that thing of like, did I get that one? I just might as well go there.
I am glad that the region identifiers tell you if you've checked off like all of the things in that region, right? So it's like collectible 1, collectible 2. Did you get all the chests here? This and this, which is helpful.
Does it work for the ravens in terms of like 1 by 1? If I'll know like raven number 3.
No, it just says like there are 6 ravens in this location, and you've gotten 4, and then you're like, well, I guess I got to go through.
Yeah, the menus do a great
ones.
job of being collectibles.
Yeah, but that final fight.
Yeah, no spoilers.
The really hard one.
Yeah.
I spent almost 2 hours trying to do it yesterday.
Did you get it though in the end?
No, I watched 3 different walkthrough videos.
Were they all just like
not helpful?
Good? No.
Yeah, they're like, oh, just keep dodging, and I'm like, what? But that's
not helping at all. That's not doing anything. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I was getting my teeth kicked in by stuff like that, and so I was like, you know what? That can wait. I'll go get all the powerful armor and better sets and all this jazz, and I'll come back and worry about this stuff later.
Done that. Came back. Still hard.
Okay. Wow. What a game. If you didn't know, ladies and gentlemen, this is Kinda Funny Games Daily. Each and every weekday on a variety of platforms, we run you through the nerdy video game news you need to know about. If you like that, be part of the show. Write in at kindafunny.com/KFGD. We'll take your questions, comments, concerns, bad PSN names, and everything else under the video game sun into our Google form and then make it part of this show. You can watch us record it live on twitch.tv/kindafunnygames. If you're watching live, you have a special job. Go to kindafunny.com/you're-wrong and tell us what we screw up as we screw it up so we can set the record straight for everybody watching later on youtube.com/kindafunnygames or listening on podcast services around the globe. Consider going to patreon.com/kindafunnygames. Keep the mics on. Housekeeping for you. If you're going to kindafunny.com/store right now, it says we're out of stock on everything. That's because, as you may have seen over on Rooster Teeth, they're moving the warehouse or whatever for merch. So once that's been moved, it'll all be back up and running. But what you need to do if you want any of that stuff is click the little wish list or notify me button, and then they'll tell you as soon as it does, because I'll probably forget to say it on this show. Also, tomorrow morning, bright and early, not live streaming, but for us it'll be bright and early. We're recording our God of War spoiler cast with Corey Barlog. If you want to be part of that show, go to kindafunny.com/God of War. Give us questions, comments, and concerns there.
Is he coming up here?
He is.
Ooh.
He's been making the rounds. He did over the weekend did Easy Allies spoiler cast.
I know. I might have to get in on this.
He's over at IGN's right now. I think he's doing GameSpot as well. I might just be blowing up where he is too. I don't care. And then here tomorrow. So yeah, he's all over the place. And also, final piece of housekeeping. We're brought to you. Wait, do you mean get in on getting Corey on what's good, or do you mean come be on our thing?
Well, I mean, both.
You're always invited. That's what I was saying. As I started to move away, I was like, wait, was she asking? We'll talk about it later.
Because the girls are in town.
Oh yeah.
It just like the intersection of it would be amazing.
Have they all beaten it?
Yes.
Look at that. Kevin blew out his eye. Kevin got Greg Miller Destiny eye going on over there because he stayed up all weekend playing along. Proud of you, Kevin.
But it's worth it, right, Kevin?
Proud of you, Kevin. Was it worth it?
Oh yeah.
Okay, good. We're gonna put you to. We're gonna let you nap on the couch as soon as this is done.
I'll enjoy that.
Okay, good. And we're also brought to you by Marvel Puzzle Quest and MeUndies, but I'll tell you about that later. For now, let's begin the show with what is and forever will be the Roper Report. Time for some news. Pray for Kevin's eye. 4 items on the Roper Report.
A baker's dozen!
Thank you, Kevin. One of the biggest stories that broke over the weekend is this. Valve has bought Campo Santo, developers of Firewatch.
Did not see this coming.
Me neither. Let's read the Campo Santo letter to you. The 12 of us at Campo Santo have agreed to join Valve, where we will maintain our jobs as video game developers and continue production on our current project in the Valley of Gods. That was me trying to quietly flip my phone. If you're the type of person who gives two flips about this news, we can elaborate a little bit on this big decision. First, we really like making video games. Furthermore, and perhaps more accurately, we really like making and producing entertainment. From the day-to-day production of our last game, Firewatch, to the way we run the company, make merchandise, meet players at expos and shows, send out a quarterly literary journal, throw open to the public game demos in the middle of an artificial forest, all of it is geared towards surprising, delighting, and entertaining our customers who have shared in our success. In Valve, we found a group of folks who, to their core, feel the same way about the work that they do. This, you may be surprised to learn, doesn't happen every day. In us, they found a group of unique experience and valuable... I see where I missed the word there. In us, they found a group with unique experience and valuable, diverse perspectives. It quickly became an obvious match. Both sides spoke about our values and how, when you get it right down to it, we as human beings are hard limited by the time we have left when it comes to making the things we care about and believe in. They asked us if we'd all be interested in coming to Bellevue and doing that there, and we said yes. Yes, we're still making In the Valley of Gods as a Valve game. Yes, we'll still support Firewatch. And yes, we'll still produce the quarterly review and our regular blog content. Thanks so much for your interest in our games. We'll be seeing you in Washington. Cheers. Campo Santo. Andrea, what was your reaction?
Wow, Valve was publishing games again?
Yeah, right? They said they were still going to be doing that. I didn't think it meant going off and getting Campo Santo, going off and buying people out.
I mean, when I first heard this news, I think I stopped and was like, that's a choice.
Yeah.
Not a bad choice.
No, not at all. Campo Santo's super talented.
Just really surprising that Valve was in the business of acquiring other game developers, because they haven't done that in a long time.
Yeah.
And so I think this is obviously great news for Campo Santos, because as we all know, living here in the Bay Area is incredibly expensive, and making games is a long process, expensive process, and guess who has a lot of resources?
Valve does.
Valve.
Yeah.
They've got quite the piggy bank.
It's funny you bring this up, because Josh wrote in to I'm off today. kindoffunny.com/KFGD. With the departure of Campo Santo from San Francisco to Seattle, the sustainability of SF games industry has come back into question. Do you see this as a continuing trend or just a news cycle take? And if it is the former, how does that impact game coverage outlets such as yourself and IGN?
I don't think having developers local impacts coverage as much as it did previously, because of the connectivity we have online. Being able to Skype developers in or do interviews, online or over the phone is super easy. And a lot of times, these press events happen in designated areas that we all travel to anyway. So having them local really doesn't affect our ongoing coverage. But I mean, it's certainly, sustainability is something that not just the video games business is feeling, but the tech industry at large in San Francisco is feeling. Like some of these major companies really kind of scaling back their hiring efforts to say, like, is Silicon Valley still the place that we want or need to be? Because it is so outrageously overpriced. Because for people who aren't familiar with the San Francisco Bay Area, the reason why one of the cost of living is so high here is because the landmass, the way it's set up with all of the water, makes building very limited, which makes the demand very high because the supply is low. But now it's to the point where who can afford these? I think the last news story I saw said that you have to make like a median of $147,000 a year to buy a house in the Bay Area, which is kind of crazy.
No, not kind of. It's crazy. Yeah. No, the economy is very weird here, and it's definitely different than the rest of the country for the most part. Obviously, big cities have all similar problems, whether you're talking about specific parts of LA, Manhattan, stuff like that. Yeah, I don't think it worries. It isn't a canary in the coal mine or anything like that for coverage of IGN GameSpot. Kind of funny. What's good? That's not the thing. Because when we have a developer on or go talk to them, usually it's an assigned PR beat, right? Like
right.
Corey's coming up and doing all of these different outlets because hey, I have to come up and do all these different outlets, and so you're going to get everybody knocked out. And like for certain people shooting up or shooting down, whether it be LA or Seattle and stuff, that's so commonplace and it's not hard to do. I do think it speaks to what you're going to continue to see in the video game industry here. The bigger, red flag I felt was EA last year with Visceral. When they closed Visceral down and there was just all these conversations about, it doesn't make sense to have a AAA studio of hundreds of people in the Bay Area because how can they afford that? How can they make that work? And so it's this weird thing where for EA, who's super successful, it doesn't make sense for them to have hundreds of people here because it would cost so much money, and you have to pay more. You have to pay them more to make sure they can live here. For a very successful, smaller developer, indie developer like Campo Santo, right? It made sense because there's just a few of them, and we can make this work, and they're outsourcing and doing different things. But then when the opportunity comes along to have endless resources and better cost of living up north in Seattle, that happens. But then it's even the fact of how rare it is, I feel, to meet an indie developer who is making a game and is living in San Francisco. That's where it's usually we're in Canada. I mean, Montreal is booming for this because of all the tax breaks and the way that their culture works. Or we're in Austin, or we're in Dallas, or we're spread out all over the place in different countries on different continents. It's so rare to see. I'm the guy who made this game all by myself, and I live in San Francisco. I can think of one off the top of my head, right? Read Only Memories was made here. That's why it's in Neo SF and Matt lives here. But outside of that, it starts getting really hard. And this is something we talked to the creator of Where the Water Tastes Like Wine. He came in for Gamescast, which is up right now, youtube.com/kindoffunnygames, podcast services around the globe. And that's one of the things he's talking about, right? Is like, came here, made this game, didn't sell as well as they wanted it to. He's moving right now. And it's not directly A to B to C, you know what I mean? But that's part of it, and that's part of the equation. It's something we think about all the time. It's kind of funny of like, all right, cool. Like, does it make sense for us to still be here? And what do we need to worry about? Especially as we want to grow. Like, the studio's been great and is awesome to us, but in the future, are we going to be able to get like a giant warehouse we'd love to have where every corner is something else? Probably not, right?
SoCal.
You going too? It's going to be like the Beverly
everybody's
Hillbillies.
going. We're going to caravan down there
Kevin's
together.
truck's all packed up. I'm on the back in a rocking chair as we drive down. I don't know why I had a shotgun too, but that's what happened. You have 3 cars?
How do you have 3 cars in San Francisco?
Wait, yeah, what happened to your... Wait, what, you got Paula's, you got your truck. When did this other car pop in? Yeah?
I mean, that's a hard guess.
What kind of car you got there then? Tell me more about this car.
It's a Subaru Crosstrek.
Okay.
Yeah. It's my new, everyday car.
Dependable.
Nice, I didn't know this. When did this happen?
Last week. I made a big deal about it.
When? On what? On the morning show?
No. I don't know. This is my first time mentioning it on air. But, man.
I don't think it was... maybe I wasn't here. Was it when I was gone? When was it?
Perhaps.
Okay.
But, if we ever move anywhere, it's going to suck to make... I'd have to drive 3 cars down.
Paula can drive one.
Well, yeah, I know. Well, sure. But, then I don't have Paula in the car.
You could sell one.
Get out of here.
Yeah, also...
Crazy.
Is Ranger Danger going to last that much longer?
I think so. Only has 110,000 miles on it.
Yeah, and the bumper's falling off, and there's all these other problems.
So, did I tell you about this?
No.
Some random person gave me a bumper.
That's so random.
I got to my car one day, and there was a bumper in the back, and I thought someone hit my car and ripped the bumper off, so I got really scared.
Yeah.
Went and looked at my front and back bumper. Huh. They were both there. There's a new-ish, is what I'm going to call it, bumper that someone put just in the Ford bumper.
Wow, look at that. The bumper fairy.
Yeah.
Coming through and taking care of you.
Just right here over the street.
The Campo Santo news is exciting and interesting, and good for them. And it'll be interesting to see what this means. Do you worry at all? I mean, Valve's been good in recent years with playing with everybody, right? I'm still gonna get In the Valley of Gods on PS4 eventually, right, Andrea?
Oh yeah, no. There's no, I think, worry that Valve isn't gonna want to publish to other platforms.
Okay. Because they have their own platform.
Hey, you know what they like? Money.
They do like money. They like it a lot. So do we. Patreon.com/kindoffunnygames. Number 2. And number 2 and 3 kind of go together. So we're going to start with number 2. The Detroit developers, that's right, Quantic Dream, are suing those media outlets over in France that were talking shit. You remember, this is from Kotaku. This has been an ongoing story here, right? As we move from just being excited about Detroit to then these reports of toxic work environment over at Quantic Dream with comments about race and sexuality and all sorts of stuff getting thrown around. And then David Cage and the CEO of the company coming out and defending themselves and being like, we didn't say this at all, and not backing down. And people being like, ooh, this is a weird back and forth thing. Friend of the show, Jason Schreier, filed this report over at Kotaku. It's lengthy, but I want to make sure I read it all because it gives good context and pimps Jason's book. Quantic Dream has sued the French newspaper Le Monde and the website Media Apart for reports on the studio's working conditions, Kotaku has learned. As far as we can tell, this is the first incident of a video game studio taking legal action against the press for negative reporting. Cage, you know what I'm saying?
No.
Oh, sorry. I broke in. You look like you're about to drop some dynamite in there, so I just want to stop. Okay.
Just listening.
It's okay, good. Am I doing all right?
You're doing great.
Thank you. Good job, Jason. Cage and co-CEO, we're just going to say co-CEO, had threatened litigation in January when the reports hit, but some observers assumed that was posturing. It wasn't, as both Cage and the media outlets have confirmed to Kotaku. We learned about this unusual lawsuit in an unusual fashion. I, Jason Schreier, happened to be in Paris last week doing press for the upcoming French version of my first book, Blood, Sweat, and Pixels. If you're an English speaker, it's available now and it's very good. Go pick it up. At one point, I was scheduled to meet with Le Monde journalist William, and how would you go with this one? Aduru?
Alduro,
whose name I remembered from an explosive article in January reporting allegations of sexist jokes, extensive crunch, and racist comments at Quantic Dream. Parentheses, Quantic Dream denied the reports. I was looking forward to talking with him, but on Monday, my publisher told me that he was going to have to reschedule. Quote, he's caught up in court, they said. Quote, court? I asked, trying to put the pieces together. Does this have something to do with Quantic Dream? My publisher didn't know the answer. But Kotaku senior reporter Cecilia Diana, how do I always screw this one up? Dianastino?
Okay,
thank you. Had a we got to get her on too because she does a lot of good stuff too.
I think I said that wrong. Anastasio?
Okay. Good. That'll work for me. From now, let's call her Cecilia. Had a preview appointment for Detroit in New York City on Thursday. Cage would be there. When she asked him what happened after the Le Monde article came out, Sony's PR handler shut down questions, but not before Cage let one piece of information slip. Quote, we're suing their journalists, he said. I then spoke to William, the reporter, who confirmed that he was dealing with paperwork last week for this lawsuit, but did not want to elaborate given the ongoing litigation. Quote, the story has been written sincerely, following a well-documented, thorough investigation. Respectful of the principle that both sides must be heard, William told me via private message. We stick with our information. William published his story alongside two other articles on the French websites Mediapart and Canard PC. Dan Israel, a journalist for Mediapart, told me this past weekend that Quantic Dream was also suing his outlet. He asked not to be quoted, citing an ongoing trial. Canard PC, on the other hand, said it has not been targeted. In an email exchange over the weekend, the site's publishing director, Ivan Godet. Where's Jen when you need her?
I know, right?
She shouldn't have a job. She should just be here for, in case of French words, break glass. Told me they had received 2 threatening letters from Quantic Dream before and after publication. Quote, nothing came after both letters, and so far, we have not been informed of any lawsuit against Canard PC, he said. That's only some of Jason's quality reporting, as always, over at Kotaku. You can go read more over there. This has been a weird one. We've talked about it from the beginning, that when it sucked that it came out, it was this thing of like, well, shit, like, how do you deal with that as a fan? Somebody, Greg Miller, who's excited about Detroit, but I don't want people working in a bad. But then the Quantic Dream so adamant in the denial of it, and then it's a he said, she said. It's like, well, it seemed like that was going to be the end of it, as so many of these are, where this thing gets dragged out into public. Both sides say something and whatever, and then we all have to just go. Number one, it's not our personal business what they're doing, but I don't know how to feel about it. And Mm-hmm. I'm very, very, very surprised to see there actually is litigation. That Quantic Dream feels so justified in this case to go after these people that are reporting this.
Agreed. It's going to be interesting to watch it play out. I would be interested to know how the laws in France differ than the press laws here in the United States, because here in the United States, reporters are not required to give up their sources, but they can be held in contempt of court. But I don't know how that works in France. Yeah. So if they are going to bring a lawsuit and try to prove, slander or libel, right, that they are probably going to have to out their sources. I don't know.
Theoretically, yeah. I don't know. It'll be, it's interesting to see, a case like this of journalistic integrity, right, of libel coming through and how that's going to actually play out in the in a real court. It won't even be in the court of public opinion anymore. It's actually moving forward. So it's another sticky situation. I think it says a lot that Quantic Dream and Cage and the co-founder are this like down to roll on it, right? That they actually want to get into the mud and wrestle this. So
I think they probably should have just let it go.
Yeah.
I think that people would forget about it and the game would have a launch that's not marred by all these rumors. But now, because they are bringing it to court, everything's getting kicked up again right before the launch of the game.
Right.
And like the second part of the Roper Report is actually exciting news.
Yeah,
and like
about video games.
Why would you want to have all that negative press around the launch of your game? It's kind of a head scratcher. Like I understand that clearly they feel strongly enough that they have a case to go, but maybe wait until after your game launches.
But I mean, here's the thing: is I don't know, and what's right. There's no right or wrong on how to handle this situation.
No, it's just all about the optics. Is my point.
But I think the optics actually benefit them in this case, personally. Where I do think, rather than let it be this lingering, did they, don't they, they put it, because remember, Quantic Dream handled it so, we all thought, weird.
Aggressively.
So awkwardly when it got announced of like, that's not true, here's our giant statement, you can find these other reports that people have done, and we're going to fight. And it was very aggressive. Whereas with other developers we've seen in similar-esque situations of sexual harassment or something, being like, we take this very seriously, we're going to investigate, we're looking into, we never want somebody. It's much more like, peaceable of how other people have handled it in the past. For Quantic Dream to come out and be like, it's not true, it is not true, and this is what we're gonna do, and blah 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 blah. I think that left a bad taste in people's mouth, on top of the doubt of, is it real? And we've talked, I don't want to talk this to death because we talked about it so much on this show. People have written in about it. Well, like, what about like innocent until proven guilty and all these different things? And it's all that's true, obviously, but there are optics in play whenever something like when mud gets thrown around. And so I think, as I've said, leading into Detroit, right, and leading into the preview cycle that we're a part of right now that we'll get to on number 3, it was the thing of, I expected this to get reviewed or talked about, and when it comes out, and have many people be like, yeah, I was excited about the game until these allegations popped up, and and like those people who were going to be riled up about that or have that strong of a reaction, opinion to it, one way or the other, I think we're going to have that regardless. And then there is this giant, and those are outliers on both sides of the equation. Then there's the giant swath in the beating that's just like, oh, I'm playing a new game from the guys who made Heavy Rain. I don't care. I think that, and it could easily go either way, like you're talking about it. I think for me, somebody who gets to observe all this and watch from the outside and be an internet pundit or whatever you want to call us, I think this plays more to them of like, in a more positive fashion, in the fact that now it comes out and the game's running up, and it is, rather than, oh man, that thing that they did or maybe they didn't do, but it seems like they didn't fight it hard enough. Now they're out there fighting and they're making all these statements, and I would have loved I'd love to hear Cecilia's tape, right? Of like, hey, like she, tell me about this and that and blah, blah, blah. Also, what's going on with that thing? And then have whoever it is from Sony PR be like, well, you know what? And David Cage like, we're suing them. Like, holy shit! Can you imagine that? And it's like,
yes, that
stands out. Like, it's interesting that they believe strongly enough in this that they're fighting like this, and I think that it, for some people, is going to benefit them optically, and some people won't. But that's how all this has to be. I totally understand what you're saying of, let's just let the drama pass, let the game speak for itself, let's go a different direction. But from the jump, Quantic Dream and David Cage have been like, I don't think that's us.
Yeah. Well, I think the big takeaway is to remember that the vast majority of people who are going to buy and play Detroit have no idea that any of this is even happening.
Yep. Great point. Speaking of, number 3 on the Roper Report, Detroit has gone gold. There's a demo coming to PSN tomorrow, and there's a Kinda Funny Gamescast preview live right now on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames and on podcast services around the globe. Sorry if you're an early patron supporter, patreon.com/kindoffunnygames. The embargo was set for this Monday morning, so you couldn't do the show. We couldn't do the show live for you, and then on Friday we put up the 2 interviews that are also in this, with the developer Where the Water Tastes Like Wine and Ronnie Hobbs from Friday the 13th. Giant Gamescast up today. Great stuff on there. But Andy got to go play Detroit Become Human. Andy really, really enjoyed it. Have you played it? I forget. Did you guys go down for this?
No, because that was the same day as the State of Decay event.
Right. Yeah. That's why I sent Andy and I stayed here for State of Decay. Because here's the thing. I'm sold on Detroit. You know what I mean? I don't tell me or show me anything else. Let's just play the game when it comes out.
Yeah, I kind of felt the same way. I was like, sometimes it's obviously it's a privilege to be able to be invited to these events, but particularly for games that are super heavy in the narrative or story department, it spoils it for us too.
Yeah.
And then we have to play it all over again.
We'll be able to talk about State of Decay soon too. But not now.
Soon is all we can say.
Let's get into some questions though about Detroit. I'm gonna start with Maddie D. Maddie D writes into kindafunny.com/KFGD and says, "Hey there, KFGD gang." Kevin, that includes you. News dropped this morning that Detroit Become Human will be getting a demo tomorrow. Given how few and far between demos are this generation, what do you think the motivation is in giving this particular game a demo? Is it because the concept might be too hard to sell in a commercial to those who aren't in the know about the mechanics? Might it have something to do with winning a little goodwill in light of all the harassment allegations in the studio's been facing? Would love to hear your thoughts. Keep up the good work. Maddie D.
Yes and yes.
Yeah, I think
you nailed it, Maddie.
Yeah, Maddie D, you got it. You got your nose to the grindstone on that one. I think for sure. I think it's winning back the goodwill from the allegations. I think it is that for a lot of people, this is a head scratcher of like, what is this game? If you missed Heavy Rain, and then if you missed Heavy Rain, I assume you missed Beyond Two Souls. Like, it's hard to explain maybe exactly what a David Cage game or a Quantic Dream game is, and not make it sound like just a fancier looking Telltale game.
Agreed, yeah.
And I think putting out the demo lets people go in there, and especially benefits getting people in there to play it. People in there to do Let's Plays, people in there to do streams where it's like, hey, look at all the different choices. Because that's what Andy was talking about in his preview, the stuff he saw. And like, he'd glance at somebody else's screen and be like, oh, fuck, I wish I didn't see that. But then have his scene never play out that way because he made so many different decisions to get to where he goes. And that's the one of the selling points of this game is the fact that, yeah, you're all going to have different experiences, you're all going to have different play. But I do definitely think, yeah, it's everything you just listed, along with the fact that I think they also want to get over the hump of not even the sexual harassment allegations, the controversy that was with the Kara demo that came out at Paris Games Week, right? Where it was like about the abuse and how they were using that and how they were framing that. I'm not saying that's the demo you're going to get, but I think it is like, hey, you've heard a lot about this game, actually play it and see how the story performs and see what this game looks like and what we're trying to accomplish.
Well, they had this demo built. I don't know if it was E3, maybe it was PSX, where they had a long demo playable in the press room.
Oh, yeah.
I think it was PSX. And so, like, why not?
Not interrogation, the hostage scene, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I assume that's what this is. I forget if it actually is.
Why not let people try it out? You already built it.
Totally. Yeah. Well, yeah, I think it's just pulled right from the game. So, yeah, get in there and see it. I think you'll be happy because I'm very excited for this. And going gold gets us excited because that means then, cool, now start pressing the discs and get me a code.
It's not delayed, yeah.
We can't be that far out. Got to be a week or two probably. Who knows? Clarence writes into kindafunny.com/KFGD about Detroit 2 and says, hello, Greg. I just finished watching Andy's impressions of Detroit Become Human, and I'm still worried about the game. I'm worried because from the trailers, I get the impression that this will not depict Detroit accurately. Detroit is 84% black, but I couldn't tell that from the trailers. I'm a black gamer, born and raised in Detroit, and the only game I can play that lets me experience Detroit is Midnight Club 3 Dub Edition. Andy said that Detroit Become Human has urban areas like real life, but I'm assuming two David Cage will mix those areas up to avoid Resident Evil 5 type backlash. I just want GTA San Andreas and GTA 5 type accurately when it comes to showing my hood. My question is, do you think accurately portraying a city is important for a game and the people who live in that city that the game is set in? Thanks, Greg and Andrea. I love the show. Clarence.
I think it is when it's set in present day. If you think about a game like Watch Dogs 2 set in San Francisco in hypothetically like present day, or maybe like near future. But Detroit feels like it's like far future. So not to say that the, makeup of the city is going to dramatically change in 20 or 30 years. But when you suspend the disbelief for a sci-fi storyline, like, you can probably change it up a little bit, but this is a very real and valid concern. Yeah,
I think it is important to depict cities and areas accurately. What I found interesting about the preview Andy brought back and was telling me about was that it answered questions I'm sure have been cursatorily answered in interviews and stuff, but the fact that Detroit right now is down on its luck city, you know what I mean, with auto manufacturing moving away, that city trying to cope with that, Michigan in general, right? The fact that the androids in Detroit and their success in this near sci-fi future is what brought back Detroit, and they are this manufacturing hub for these androids. And what Andy was talking about in the preview that he saw was what we've seen from trailers and videos for the most part is the affluent. We are rich because we did this. We are in the glistening, bright, clean downtown with all the androids and amazing stuff. However, there is that other side of the tracks that Clarence briefly references in here, right? I think he called it experience. Andy said, real. He talks about it in here. I forget what it is.
Urban areas.
Urban areas, right, in quotes, right? There's the wrong side of the tracks. The people who probably are, I assume, working these blue-collar jobs in these factories to make these androids in this new golden metropolis that go back to their hellhole apartments that are all destroyed and horrible or whatever. I don't know. That's, again, what Clarence is driving at, and so there won't be a Resident Evil-style backlash that on the wrong side of the tracks, it's only black people or something like that. That wouldn't be the case, I would assume, as Clarence himself assumes in this thing. I don't know how much they're going to get into this, but the fact that they had I think, interesting story justification already on why Detroit, which right now isn't in the best of shape, is suddenly this like hub of AI and technology and all that. That gives me hope that there'd be some reasoning here of like, cool, the Detroit in this alternate timeline jumps ahead and becomes this glorious metropolis with its own problems on the outskirts of town or whatever this way. And I would hope there'd be some kind of explanation in there, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But overall, I fall with you of, since this is a future title, it is an alternate timeline, I'm not holding them to the standard of like, where are all the minorities here? Especially if they're going to have it broken down and they're going to play into that of, well, here's all these rich morons that did this and got successful and are fucking over the little guy. I feel like that's going to be an angle in it too, but we'll have to see when we get the game. But in short, yes, represent cities and what they look like.
Representation matters.
Exactly. Number 4 on the Roper Report. Housemarque has announced a new project. This is via Variety. Finnish video game developer Housemarque revealed its latest project today. Storm Divers, that's right, not Helldivers, but Storm Divers. The game is a high-flying and heavy-hitting multiplayer-centric experience, the independent studio said. Housemarque has been secretly working on Storm Divers for the last 2 years. It's the studio's second game made with the Unreal Engine, parentheses, the first was last year's side-scroller Matterfall, and the first title it will treat as an ongoing service. Quote, this also means that there are ways to get to play it earlier, and we'd love to develop it further with a feedback loop in mind, the developer said. Housemarque was founded in 1995, and it's the oldest video game company in Finland. It's known for arcade titles like Resogun and Super Stardust HD, but low sales of such games led the studio to declare arcade is dead in 2017. While, quote, while some of them have reached a massive audience due to the free game offerings across various digital sales channels, this unfortunately doesn't help pay for development, which gets costly for high production quality, it said at the time. Of course, Housemarque, friends of the show, friends are kind of funny, always been very, very good to us. And it was crazy, yeah. In 2017, when out of the blue, they came out and like, arcade is dead. And like, we are looking at, games as a service. We are looking at multiplayer, but you never know what that means or when you're going to see something. And here it is now. Storm Divers. The game is a high-flying and heavy-hitting multiplayer-centric experience, the independent studio said.
They put out a short teaser video, but like it shows nothing. Like you have no idea what kind of game this is or what the gameplay looks like.
Yeah.
That's always kind of frustrating for me when people put out these like teaser trailers that give you absolutely no context as to what the game is.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like, what is this asset all about?
Yeah. I understand. They think they have a long cycle, obviously, and stuff where they'll be able to talk about the game and do different things and show different parts of the game. But I'm with you. Yeah, I always want, if you're going to announce it, just announce it and show me something cool and like, let's go. But it is Roper Report worthy, I feel, that, hey, these guys who said this just last year are already delivering, and it is very much in line with what they were hinting at when they said arcade is dead.
And they will treat it as an ongoing service. Mm-hmm. That trend is only going to get bigger and bigger.
I'm sure it'll have a battle royale mode. Andrea.
Yes, Greg.
I'm excited to see what Storm Divers is all about, but it's so far away probably. If I wanted to know what games came to the Mom and Grop shop today, where would I go?
You would go to the official list of upcoming software across each and every platform as listed by the Kind of Funny Games Daily Show hosts each and every weekday.
Yeah. Out today, nothing.
Literally nothing.
Got nothing for you. Sorry, everybody. Tomorrow's big, though. A lot of games on Tuesday, so get ready for that. Andrew, you want to come back and do the show tomorrow?
Yes, I do, actually.
Perfect. All right, great. New dates for you. Omen Sight is coming to PlayStation 4 May 15th. Archangel Hellfire will be available worldwide on June 28th for the HTC Vive and Oculus Rift. And then Andrea adds in, Revival Productions announced that Overload, the new 6 Degree of Freedom tunnel shooter from the original creators of the critically acclaimed 90s classic Descent, will be available on Windows beginning May 31st for $35, and the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One versions will release in Q3 2018. Right around the corner. Deals of the day for you.
Be here before you know it.
Deals of the day. I'm starting with a head scratcher. Maybe, I don't know. It seems like the Xbox games with golds have been revealed.
They have.
There was an unlisted video published to the Xbox YouTube channel that they never took down, but they also never made listed. So whatever.
That's kind of a head scratcher.
Yeah, right. Where I was expecting, when you see a headline of people reporting on your unlisted video, I think you either go public or you delete the video.
Yeah.
But Xbox is like, fuck it, let it roll. But it seems like we know the games with gold. These could change, maybe. I didn't see anything official by the time we went live. Xbox One is getting Super Mega Baseball 2 May 1st through the 31st. And then Metal Gear Solid 5 The Phantom Pain May 16th through June 15th. Xbox 360 is getting, when these are compatible with Xbox One, Streets of Rage May 1 through the 15th. And then motherfucking Vanquish May 16th through the 31st. Go get them.
Deep cut.
Yeah, right. Great game. Newegg's got a bunch of discounts too. These are via GameStop Spot. And it's when I overthink it. One of them needs to go away. I'm going to write to GameStop and ask if they can just go back to being Electronics Boutique. Because then this would eliminate so much of my problem. GameStop did not have anything to do with this GameSpot report that reads, heads up Xbox One and Nintendo Switch owners, Newegg is running a promotion that saves you money when you buy Xbox or Nintendo eShop gift cards. That means if you're planning to buy a digital game from either store in the future, you're guaranteed to save money whether the game is on sale or not. And if the game is on sale, the savings stack, sweetening the deal even more. But don't delay, because the gift cards deal over on Newegg ends April 25th, which is right around the corner.
Wednesday.
I think that checks out, Andrea. I think that checks out. April 27th coming up.
Yes.
My birthday.
Also, my dad's birthday.
Is that? That's why you're not here.
No, I'm in Los Angeles.
Oh, lame. Breaking your dad's heart.
I know, but I'm going to go see my dad next week.
Okay, that counts. That's
I'm
fine.
doing dual, my sister and my dad's birthday.
Just knock them right out. You know what I mean?
That's
Let's
right.
knock out some reader mail. But first, I'm going to tell you, it's brought to you by Marvel Puzzle Quest and MeUndies. Let's start with Marvel Puzzle Quest. Andrea, I cannot tell you my excitement when this came through. Because I said Marvel Puzzle Quest. Oh, I remember this game I used to love called Puzzle Quest. And then I started reading the thing they sent me about Marvel Puzzle Quest, and I said, wait a second, this is Puzzle Quest. Same people. Do you remember the D3 people or whatever? They're making Marvel. It's Puzzle Quest again, just like it used to be on my PSP, which I think of all the time when Chris Roper had a baby for the first time, and I asked him what it was like to be a dad, and he said, I can't play as much, but I found that I'm able to play Puzzle Quest. Hold the baby in one hand, play Puzzle Quest in the other. So I was like, awesome. And I love Puzzle Quest, but I've missed Puzzle Quest. And I said, where did Puzzle Quest go? It turned out it turned into Marvel Puzzle Quest, making it only better, Andrea. And this is Greg. If you're an audio listener, I'm not looking at the paper. I actually have Marvel Puzzle Quest on my phone. I've been playing it. It's Puzzle Quest.
But
Puzzle Quest is back, everybody.
This has been around for a while, Greg.
Nobody tells me these things. I need to pay more attention. Marvel Puzzle Quest is Marvel's only match 3 puzzle RPG mobile game experience, and you can download it for free today. In Marvel Puzzle Quest, you create custom teams from the Marvel Universe that feature characters like Iron Man, Black Panther, Deadpool, Rogue, and more. There are more than 150 superheroes and villains in this. Once you have a set team, you can join your friends or other Marvel enthusiasts and be part of an alliance and compete against others on the leaderboards and all this other stuff. So let's see. It's free. We said that. Marvel Puzzle Quest free. Match 3 game, RPG, 150 characters. They got versus tournaments and story events. I'm just playing by myself. I'm sure I'll start to play with people eventually at some point. And you can play new events and tournaments and all sorts of stuff. They have a special offer for new players right now. It's a free 3-star Thanos for Marvel Puzzle Quest, available in the link in the description before, or bit.ly. Joey! What did I make? What is the bit.ly for it again? No, the other one. I think we had to make our own bit.ly, because I hate saying it's in the description below, right? Mm-hmm. Because then it's so bit.ly Marvel Puzzle Quest.
No, it's
kindoffunny.com Marvel Puzzle Quest. Yeah. See, I don't want to see this is for you, the audio listener. I'm looking right at the camera. I just didn't want to do the hey, it's in the description below. I want you to get the Thanos, but I want credit for it. kindoffunny.com/Marvel Puzzle Quest.
I'm testing the link right now.
Good. If it doesn't work, just stare daggers at Joey. Okay? No, it worked. It worked. Good. And again, I know what you're saying. I thought Puzzle Quest was dead, Greg. No, it's back and it's got Marvel in it. It's back, Andrea. Why didn't you tell me? You're the one who's watching all the mobile stuff.
I don't know. I actually had it downloaded quite a while ago, but it was during my era where I was playing a bunch of mobile games on flights because I was flying.
Yeah.
I still fly a lot, but the problem with this game is you need to be connected.
Sure, it's it's like Super Mario Run and all that jazz.
Yes, it's not like Candy Crush where you can just play it without being connected. But it's got Marvel heroes in it.
It does. And it's Puzzle Quest more importantly.
Yeah.
Anyways, we'll stop. I'm sorry. I'm genuinely glowing about the game. I don't stop. The other sponsor is MeUndies. Now, do I need to tell you how much I love MeUndies?
You already have, Greg.
MeUndies is the Marvel Puzzle Quest of underwear. All right, look at these guys. Purple, Kevin.
Just giving himself
Soft
a wedgie over here, you guys.
And I didn't realize I'm matching my collared shirt to my bottom half. That's nice. MeUndies are amazing. They're the only underwear I own and wear because they're super soft. I've said this. They're durable. They come in funny prints. You like that. MeUndies adventurous prints and designs are all limited edition, and new patterns are released every few weeks on a rolling basis. They have a 100% satisfaction guarantee. If you don't love your undies, you get your money back. And they have an exclusive offer for you, the listeners. For any first-time purchasers, when you purchase MeUndies, you get 20% off and free shipping. MeUndies is so sure they'll love the underwear. They give you that 100% satisfaction guarantee. So get 20% off the pair of the most comfortable undies you will ever put on. To get your 20% off your first pair, free shipping, and a 100% satisfaction guarantee, go to MeUndies.com/GamesDaily. That's MeUndies.com/GamesDaily.
And for all the kind of honeys out there who are wondering, yes, the ladies' underwear are also incredibly comfortable. Normally, I don't like that elastic band on the top of ladies' underwear, but this one, very nice, very comfortable.
What's wrong with it usually?
It's too tight. It's constricting because, as ladies, we have hips.
Sure
and so, like, it stretches and then it cuts into you. And
no
one wants
mark.
that.
Yeah, no, I don't want that either. No, okay. Where do I want to start with you, Andrea Renee? Huh. Let's start here. We're going to start with TheSilentGamer.
Okay.
Hey, y'all. Don't know if you saw it, but on Friday, IGN promoted their early access, not final, review of Radical Heights, which they gave a 5 out of 10. Cliffy B then responded with the Mad Max, "That's bait" gif. Now, multiple people are criticizing IGN for reviewing an unfinished game. Dan Stapleton, IGN reviews editor, replied to people saying that if a game can be played by anyone, it deserves criticism. What are your stances on it? Should an early access game be reviewed by major outlets? TheSilentGamer.
I think that Dan makes a valid point that it can be criticized, but I think putting the word review on that criticism changes the connotation of it. And early access by design means it's not finished, means that there are broken things and that they are working, actively working to change the game throughout, feedback given by the community. So I don't understand why you would make an early access review specifically, early access preview maybe, or even like an early access like impressions. But the word review kind of insinuates that this is like our final thought on the matter.
Sure.
Even though we do now have reviews in progress is becoming a more and more popular thing.
I hadn't heard of an early access review is what they're calling it, not finally puts in parentheses. We would have called it in my day, review in progress, right? That it's still going and it's going to be added to. But even that is different because that's usually what you do when you're doing Destiny 2 or whatever.
Again, there's a multiplayer component.
A giant online, that you want everybody to get into. It's an interesting question.
I would say the easy answer here is no.
Yeah, you say that.
Should early access games be reviewed by major outlets? No.
See, the problem is, and this isn't like a horrible problem, obviously, but it's the fact that IGN's been around so long, and as nimble as IGN is, and it's changed so much since we worked there. It's still trying to fit some of these square pegs into round holes. In the fact that IGN has previews, reviews in progress, and reviews. So then how do you get out there and take your existing rubric, your existing content schedule, and apply it to something different?
Which keyword in the CMS am I going to attach to this piece of content?
Well, that's the big reason why, of course, right? Is that it is SEO.
Yeah.
IGN is known for reviews. People are going to put in Radical Heights review, and they want to make sure they're already driving people there, and on top of that they're driving people there for the next 40 years while this game's worked on, and into infinity when people will inevitably come back for this over and over again. And so I feel that it's a problem for fans or, not really. I'm sure Cliff Bleszinski doesn't give a fuck. As long as people are talking about the game, he's stoked.
No, I think that he cares more than he lets on publicly.
Oh, sure. But I think, totally projecting, I think that's bait is a great response. Because what it is I'm not going to argue with this. The game isn't done. We're not releasing the game yet. That's not how this works.
Right. I feel like everything that Dan could possibly have written comes with a giant but. Sure. Right? Like, but this thing is broken, but it's early access. The art isn't finished, but it's early access.
And I think that's a valuable thing to put in there because there are audience members, kids right now, readers that want to know what it's like right now. And so I do think that having it up there, it's when you assign the score that it gets a little weird. But I also get that I worked at IGN and I wrote these reviews and I know the amount of people that click on it and scroll to the bottom to see the score. And I feel if you are that invested right now in knowing at a glance, reviews always reminded me a little bit of when I was a young buck grown up in Glen Ellen, Illinois. We had Lake Ellen, right? And so when it would snow and get cold, I'd always get so excited for my parents to take the long way home and drive by Lake Ellen. Because what you would see is they had a red light and a green light. And if it was red, it meant the ice is not, you cannot skate on the ice, but if it was green, you could skate on the ice. And in so many ways, I think that's what people think of as review scores. Sure, there's tons of people who want to read it, they want to listen to the podcast, they want to watch people discuss it. There's other people that at a glance just want to know what it's like right now. And so I think clicking on an early access review or a review in progress and seeing that number, like, oosh, not there yet, but in 2 months, 3 months when they come back and do it, then it and update the score, that changes it. And it's the same thing of I'd click on that again to see. Now, I totally missed this review. I hadn't checked on it. I'm interested now to see how much they're going to change it and how much they're going to review it. And that's what IGN wants. They want me coming back and clicking on this thing all the time.
I just feel like this is this is maybe a controversial statement, but I feel like this is just a waste of time doing early access reviews. Like, oh, surprise, it's not done yet.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I mean,
early access review, the cake in the oven. You're like, man, this thing's
who
ugly.
expects an early access game to be a 9 out of 10? It wouldn't be early access. It would be published.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so this to me is just like, what the?
But it's also interesting,
I don't understand why you would even do this.
They're getting ahead of, I think that this, and this is me 1000% being on the outside and just taking what my cursory knowledge of this from way back in the day. I've been removed for 3 years now, right? Yeah. I think this is them probably learning from page views and content interaction with PUBG. Where PUBG they didn't review right until they officially it went 1.0. I believe kindoffunny.com/you're wrong. Let me know if I'm wrong about that. I thought it was a big deal when I think it was Miranda, right, who reviewed it. They put up a review in December when they actually pushed it to 1.0. And I bet that the problem is IGN wants to be, and so does everybody to an extent in games journalism or games critique. They want to be your one-stop shop and they want to be able to serve the reader and give them the content they want.
It looks like they did an early access review.
They did. I apologize.
In May of 2017.
Okay.
And then there was another review in January of 2018. Like the official review. That would be the final one. Yeah. All right, then I stand corrected. I think it's just, trying to figure out how do you review and talk about games in 2018, but then maintain the legacy you've built as IGN, as being the site that reviews everything and is the place for reviews and where you want to go and where everybody wants that score from. I mean, I'm with you of, well, what do they expect? But I'm sure they didn't expect it to be that, and they want to know what it's at. Yeah.
And I'm sure, I would hope most readers expect that too.
This is just, pure and simple. It's, like he said, it's clickbait. It's literally just bait. It's just for clicks.
Well, the title of it is. The title, you know what I mean? Like IGN's job is to tell you about games. And so reviews obviously click better than previews, click better than impressions. So yeah, that part of it is. But I still think that your criticism and critiquing can stand. But then it's like putting a score on it where it gets weird.
The score is the stupid part.
Okay.
But then again, I also don't believe in scoring.
You just want everything to get a thumbs up. You know what I mean?
Always. Everything's the best, you guys. All games are great. No, that's not true.
As you'd expect, a lot of God of War questions in here. Not spoiler questions. I'm very appreciative of the people who wrote into kindoffunny.com/KFGD using God of War as a springboard into bigger questions. All right? All right? So I'm going to go to Speedymeme, who writes in and says, is it a disservice to want to complete stories as fast as possible? Much like binging a Netflix series, I spent my whole weekend off blasting through God of War's main story to completion. I was satisfied with my experience and have sold the game to a friend and effectively only had to pay $10 for the game. I had fun, but my peers questioned my decision, so I just wanted to hear your all's thoughts and the community's thoughts on playing games that way. Thanks, Speedymeme.
Stop telling people how to enjoy the things that they love. I think that's That's it, right?
Sure. Yeah.
And not to say that I haven't done that I'm probably guilty of it, and I should probably take my own advice, and someone's going to probably write that in a YouTube comment or tweet that to me. That's fine. But I get this all the time, because a lot of times on this show or on What's Good, I talk about how I drop it down to easy mode, or as we like to call it, baby mode.
Sure.
Because
That's
I like
shirt,
to.
Isn't it?
It is.
Where can I get that shirt?
You can get that shirt at teespring.com/stores/what'sgoodgames.
Oh, there you go.
Or you can go to what'sgoodgames.com. Hit store.
There you go.
It's pretty cute, actually.
Yeah.
So there's nothing wrong with completing the story fast if that's the way that you want to do it, or playing it on easy so you can get through it faster because that's the way that you want to do it. Why would anybody else care how you played your single player experience? It's yours. It's your experience.
No, you're correct. God of War is the first time in a while where I knew how big the game was and I knew when the embargo was. And so I found myself having to play it at a clip faster than I'd want to, where I loved all the side stuff. And this is a game where I would have gone and done every little tidbit before completing the real story if I had my way. But I wanted to hit embargo. I wanted to be ready for the spoiler cast. I wanted all these different things that found me then going like, oh man, I'd love to go explore, but you know what? I know what the main objective currently is. I'm going to go do that because I'm running out of days and I want to make sure I'm locked up for embargo. And that speaks to us, you and me, Andrea, in terms of what our jobs and careers and, how that works in terms of being content creators. But I think it also speaks to anybody, whether it be the Speedymeme or someone else who, guess what? Speedymeme, I'm gonna just hypothetically has a job and kids and a wife or significant others or other responsibilities, other interests, and so it is way easier to say, you know what, this weekend is God of War weekend. I'm gonna sit down and just blast through this thing to get it done, to move on to getting ready for Infinity War, to get on to my son's Little League game, to worry about going back to see my mom. Like, you're right. You have to just let people play how they want to play, and I don't necessarily think you're doing anyone a disservice one way or the other on how you play games. I have thought about it, obviously, again, in our jobs of the times where, oh my God, I can't wait for GameX, and I get GameX, and I go home Friday, Saturday, and roll credits Sunday. And I'm like, man, that was so much fun. And it is like, man, you know what? The hundreds of names that just went by in the credits spent 4 years making this game. And I definitely didn't stop to appreciate the textures on that wall or how this thing was animated or modeled in the way that, like, it's the difference between, you take a spoonful of food and put the spoon down and enjoy what's in your mouth rather than just shoveling it over and over again, even though you love what you're eating. And so that's the balancing act I think there is, where I've had it go both ways, where, man, I marathon through this game, but wait, what was in the middle again? I remember this big part. I remember this thing. How did it all get together? Because I was going so fast. But then I've had the other of like, I'm going to long play this, and then I don't ever finish Persona 5 because I got away from it, and I'm like, where am I going to start? Oh, well, I've seen enough, and I'm fine.
Yeah, no, I think that you bring up two great points. And I also think it's great that he brings up the idea of like binging a Netflix series, because there's no judgment about that. Yep. Like new House of Cards comes out and everybody watches all episodes in like 2 days, and there's no judgment there. I don't know why there's judgment about speeding through a story-based campaign for a video game. And quite frankly, games are long. A lot of them are too long. A lot of times there's too much stuff, too much busy work. So sometimes you just gotta, you gotta get through it as quickly as possible.
And that's one of the reasons I like God of War so much, I think, is the fact that none of the side stuff feels like busy work.
Nope.
It all feels like it's building the universe and it's doing all this different stuff. Oh, let's go to Big Dog Kevin Coelho over there in the dog pound. Kev, you had to speed run through God of War this weekend to get ready for tomorrow's spoiler cast. Remember, kindoffunny.com/God of War if you want to write in questions. How'd that feel for you?
I mean, it was exhausting, just in that, like, it's a big game and it was difficult to do.
Yeah.
It is very much, like, I don't usually play games like this. Specifically, like, just like you, I think that if I had the opportunity, I would have taken as long as possible to get, to, like, actually finish the story.
Yeah.
So, I wanted to, like, be here to watch Corey do the spoiler cast with you. So I needed to make sure that, I got it done, and I did. I think that I'm still going to put a whole chunk of time into it, but I definitely would have put more time into it had I done it, like, in order over the span of, like, a week and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kevin.
No problem.
You can go back to your doghouse. Oh, Andrea. That actually answered another God of War question in there, so I feel like we're good on that front. And then I feel like we're running long, but I don't know. Should we do Joe B's question?
Let's see here. Joe B.
Because we have something exciting coming up in a special segment. I'm gonna let Joe B have the floor.
Okay.
Kindoffunny.com/KFGD if you want to have the floor, like Joe B does, who wrote it and said, "Hey guys, on Friday, Greg and Andrea discussed when we would expect the next Xbox, with Andrea saying a 2020 release date and a possible 2019 leak or review. I personally disagree with this completely. Phil Spencer has said the Xbox team has shifted their focus to games now that the Xbox One X has been released. I know tech advances happen quickly, but I can't see a world where a new Xbox is out earlier than 2022. The X is the most powerful console ever made, and devs have yet to even take full advantage of its full power. While Sony can improve the PlayStation 4 Pro to become a PS5 that is as powerful as the X, what can Microsoft do to make a new console worth purchasing? I know as an Xbox X owner, a new console in 2 to 3 years after the release of the X would be a complete middle finger from Xbox towards us consumers and hardcore fans. Just some food for thought. Thanks, guys. Joe B.
I guess we're agreeing to disagree, Joe.
He's very respectful in his disagreement.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. And I'm not saying it doesn't have credence, that it's unfounded what he's talking about here. I do think that, Phil Spencer saying the Xbox team has shifted to focus to games now that the Xbox One X is released. Sure, and I believe that, but I don't think that means they're not thinking about the next Xboxes.
Of course it doesn't.
And again, I think that they really, I think it's a complicated message to be like, all right, cool, this Xbox One X, the PlayStation 5, you assume, and maybe I'm wrong, I'm assuming is going to be more powerful than the Xbox One X. Would you say so?
It has to be.
Okay. So then the question
Right?
becomes,
It has to be.
I want to make sure if I'm talking out my ass, you're there to keep me and hold on to my ass, I guess. I don't know. But if that's the case, Xbox doesn't want to be left behind. This is where it gets weird when you start trying to get out of sync with the cycles. And I also think that Xbox wants to, if not beat PlayStation to market, so they have a better shot at getting dominance again in the next generation. I think that if they don't want to beat them, they have to meet them and pull the trigger at the same time so that it's similar to the Xbox One, PlayStation 4 launch lineup again. I think it would be super weird if it was, and I'm not saying it's impossible, but hey, I'm Ubisoft and I'm making Assassin's Creed whatever, and it's coming to PlayStation 5 and the Xbox One X. Especially when we're talking about the fact that the Xbox One X has said that the games that you play on the Xbox One X will be able to be played on the Xbox One. And that I feel is an even more troubling middle finger to fans of, cool, we know we sold you the Xbox One X or convinced you to keep your Xbox One S because everything will always be there. But now our hand's been forced and we have to put out games that can only be played on the Xbox One X. Like, I don't know how that all is going to shake out.
I don't necessarily look at it as their hand is forced. I think the technology is always going to evolve. It's always going to move forward. If you think about how quickly, mobile phones and smartphones move, each year,
sure,
it's different. And granted, it's a different type of device, but I mean, of course, people are going to be left behind. You can't have 5-year-old technology and expect that the brand new technology is going to cater to you. That's just not the world that we live in anymore in consumer tech.
Yeah.
So I don't think that Xbox is necessarily going to look at their next piece of hardware and say, oh, we need to make sure to take care of people who are Gen 1 Xbox One.
Yeah.
I mean, because this fall, that'll be 5 years old.
Yeah.
So I think that obviously PlayStation 5 has to exceed what Xbox One X is currently capable of, because otherwise why are they even building a new box? Because PS4 Pro right now is a really great offering. Clearly, like, Xbox One X is edging them out a little bit in terms of hardware, but I mean, I think that 2022, what Joe was saying here,
that seems so far away.
It's too far. Because that's almost a full decade after the launch of Xbox One.
Yeah.
So I don't think I don't think he's correct.
I definitely don't think it'll be that late. And I think that, the 2020 timeframe sounds about right for all this. It's the same thing, using it as a middle finger to the fans who bought the X is the same thing we were saying about the Pro, is that, there was the argument of like, this is a middle finger to everybody who bought a PlayStation 4. And I was like, not really.
Right,
like,
no. I had a really nice long conversation with Albert Pinello about this when they were doing press before Xbox One X was released. And you guys can see that whole transcript over at whatsgoodgames.com. But the thing that was really interesting about our conversation was he was very adamant that the Xbox One X is its own individual thing. It's not meant to be the next evolution of Xbox One. It's not meant to be the next half step or full step into the next generation. He talked about it in terms of consumer tech having multiple offerings. He's like, think about it in the sense of like dishwashers or washing machines or refrigerators. You know, they each have different types of models that do different types of things. Some are very high end and fancy, and some are very basic. And Xbox One X was like their high end offering for people who want that high end tech experience.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. See how this all shakes out. But I do think the success of the Pro and the X so far, and I don't even mean like hardcore numbers, I just mean their acceptance. Like everybody's like, all right, cool, this is what we're doing, proves that like all the hemming and hawing we were all doing, myself included, beforehand of like, this is outrageous, we've never had a console generation, like blah blah blah. Like, it's fine, nobody gives a shit, whatever. Everybody wants the cool thing.
It's just options.
Time to squad up. This is where one of you writes into kindafunny.com/KFGD. Give me your name, username, platform of choice, and why you need help in a video game. Today, it's Chris. Now, this would seem fishy, but it is not fishy. Of course, I told you about how much I like Marvel Puzzle Quest. I already told you they were a sponsor of this show. As luck would have it, Chris wrote in looking for help in Marvel Puzzle Quest. Oh, no, he didn't. Marvel Strike Force. Totally different. I take it all back. I don't even know what game I'm talking about. He should have been playing Puzzle Quest. Chris says, I need help on Marvel Strike Force, starting a Kinda Funny alliance to raid together. Chris says he needs help on mobile. He doesn't say iOS, though. And I don't know enough about Strike Force to know if that's everywhere or not, if it's just somewhere.
It's on both Android and iOS. I'm not even going to read.
He gave me the name Nerf Herder with a 0 between Nerf and Herder. And then he gave his Twitter, which is Fortress Chris. If you play Marvel Strike Force and you want to do the Kinda Funny alliance to raid together, hit @Fortress Chris on Twitter. He'll figure it all out. You'll all work together.
It was really cool. The folks over at Marvel sent me like a whole agent
the dossier.
packet.
That's the
right?
Oh, see, I know nothing. They sent me that, and I was like, oh, that's cool.
Got the special agent cards.
Oh yeah.
And a lot of personal information that I was like, did you find all of this about me on the internet?
Yeah, that's what you do. You're that well known that you can just do that.
One of my superpowers was wordsmithery. Oh, look at Kevin's got one right there.
Yeah, it's mine. Yeah. Thank you, buddy. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a special segment because it's a special episode. It's the 200th episode of Kinda Funny Games Daily.
Woo! I feel like we need confetti or something.
Oh, Kevin would have to clean it all up right before MCU interview. That'd be too much work
noisemakers, party hats.
Our friend Kenny Ballou wrote in. If you remember Kenny Ballou, it's because he wrote in at episode 100 because we also didn't pay attention to that milestone, and he wrote in to tell us special stats. But Kenny writes in and says, today, Monday, April 23rd, is the 200th Kinda Funny Games Daily Show. Congrats on making it to this milestone, and thank you for the great daily content this show provides. Just like I did for your 100th episode, I wanted to check in with some of the statistics for your 200th show. There have been 23 total co-hosts. Their amount of shows breaks down. Greg Miller, 159 episodes. Tim Gettys, 79 episodes. Andrea Renee, 71 episodes. Gary Whitta, 25 episodes. Danny O'Dwyer, 22 episodes. Jared Petty, 16 episodes. Andy Cortez, 8 episodes. Anthony Gallegos, 3 episodes. Anthony Carboni and Christian Phillips tied with 2 episodes apiece. And then Nick Scarpino, Gerard the Completionist, Fran Mirabella, Robin Honeyke, Janine Gavankar, Jack Patillo, Victor Lucas, Michael Huber, Brittany Barombracher, Jason Schreier, and Daniel Bloodworth have all co-hosted once. For the show combinations. Now, Kenny went through and did all the computations to figure out all the different combinations. I'm just going to give you the top 5. Greg and Andrea have co-hosted 55 shows together. Number 1 slot. Greg and Tim, 49 episodes. Greg and Danny, 19 shows, holding strong in 3rd place. Greg and Gary, 15 episodes. And Andrea and Tim, 9 episodes. Some fun statistics and information. There have been only 21 days of shows missed since the show began on June 19th, 2017. 5 days for 4th of July, 1 show for Kevin's bachelor party, 3 days for Thanksgiving, 11 shows for Christmas, and 1 show for a Kinda Funny Day stream. Greg has hosted 5 shows in a week 15 times. Tim has hosted all 5 shows in a week 2 times, and Danny has done it once. Andrea has hosted 4 shows in a week twice, but never has hosted all 5 shows. Portillo has made 2 appearances on the show. Once on November 17th, 2017 for most of the show, and once on March 29th for a short portion of the show. There has been only 1 show with a missed handshake, September 6th, 2017, where Anthony Gallegos left early and Greg did not have a hand to shake.
Oh no.
There has been 1 3-person panel, December 12th, 2017, Greg, Andrea, and Victor Lucas.
Victor, yeah.
Greg messed up the Roper Report intro on December 14th, 2017, requests that Gary slap him. Gary obliged. Tim finally broke down to the do jingle for a release date segment. That's not even the right one. Sorry, I read do. I just did the Roper. Anyways, the release date jingle on March 6, 2018, after refusing to do it for the shows he hosted before. March 19th, 2018 was the first time the show didn't start with the Roper Report. Instead, Greg gave his God of War impressions. There was no You're Wrong segment on March 21st, 2018 due to internet issues. Thanks again for the many, many hours of entertainment. I'll see you at episode 300, Kenny. Thank you, Kenny.
That's awesome. Thanks,
and again,
Kenny.
there were a lot more stats. That is an edited version of what he sent in. Because Kenny's a crazy person, but I respect him and love him for doing it. Andrea.
Yes, Greg.
When we do this show, we stream it live on twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames, and we ask everybody watching live to go to kindoffunny.com/you're wrong and tell us what we screw up as we screw it up so we can set the record straight for everybody watching on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames and listening on podcast services around the globe. Andrew, what do we screw up?
Well, this first one from Kebabs is not really a you're wrong, but more of some...
You know better!
Yeah, you do, Kebabs, but it's more for context. A possible explanation for the Detroit race thing could be that there are no white models of androids and that they make up the majority of the cast. Sort of the android equivalent of movies not having a lot of black characters in them. When I was at PSX, there were no black android stage actors that I remember, so it sounds intentional. Not defending the choice if that applies to the public, just thinking of a possibility here.
Interesting. Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting when we get the game to play through it and see what the narrative is. And yeah, if that's true, that'd be super interesting when it comes up in the game of like, right, where the minority androids.
And speaking of which, Jilly Neutron writes in and says, since the 2008 recession, Detroit has been in a state of white urbanization and black suburbanization. For the first time in decades, the percentage of the population in Detroit urban core made up of African Americans has decreased. This could be the trend the game follows into the future.
Interesting.
Ants in My Pants says Marvel Puzzle Quest is also available on PS4 and Xbox One as a paid game with no microtransactions, but it doesn't have a platinum trophy.
What the fuck? It was perfect for a second. For a second I saw it, Kevin, and it was beautiful. Fuck. Not Vita though, huh?
But it has trophies, just not a platinum.
Yeah, I get my 100%. Where the fuck Slide too, by the way? I made a big deal on Friday that it was happening. It didn't happen. My sources were wrong.
Brockerock says, figured with the Marvel hype you'd appreciate this. Lego Marvel Superheroes 2 is now on sale for half off in the Nintendo eShop.
Okay. Go see
Deal
me,
of the day.
Kevin, Nick, and Tim in that game.
This is from Nitro Rifle. Nothing you got wrong, but today, Bungie released a trailer for their Destiny 2 Warmind expansion stream that is happening tomorrow, April 24th. It teased a new Horde-style mode, brought back the old exotic auto rifle Suros regime, and takes place on Mars. The stream looks to feature devs on the hot seat going over some games problems since launch. So Nitro Rifle, Greg did have this in the Roper Report today, and I said no, because let's wait. It's going to be a big thing tomorrow, hopefully. Because it's 10 a.m., so we should be able to squeeze all the deets in tomorrow.
Perfect.
So if you guys are going to come back tomorrow, be prepared. We're going to be talking about Destiny 2. And then lastly... Is
that actually Nitro Rifle?
That was not Andy, for sure. I think he's just using the name Nitro Rifle.
Oh, is that Andy's handle?
Yeah, that's his Twitch handle.
Oh.
He's Nitro Rifle. Nick is Cheetos Fingers. Kevin is Kevin. And I'm Flapjack. But you have to yell it. And that's all I say.
Flapjack!
Flapjack! Oh, I'm sorry. Tim's White Boy 69.
Lastly, Ants in My Pants is back to say there was an article published on Thurrott.com saying that several sources have confirmed to him a new console is in development but is several years away. They say within 3 years is a realistic possibility, but they are not in a rush to replace the console that has such a significant horsepower lead over the competition. I think he's referring to Xbox
One X, yeah. All right. Yeah. Interesting. We'll see how that shakes out.
Also, significant horsepower lead.
It's got a lot of flops, man. Teraflops, no checkerboarding. I don't know what the fuck that means, but it doesn't have it. True native.
That's
4K.
Not true, actually. There is checkerboarding on Xbox One X.
It can do 4K Blu-rays, but nothing else can on the PlayStation. I don't know. I've said all the talking points I know about this. I don't care. Just let me play games. Let's run through this week's schedule of hosts. Tomorrow, Andrea's with me again. Wednesday, Gary Whitta's with me. Thursday, Jared Petty's with me. And Friday, White Boy 69 himself, Tim Gettys, is with me. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Kind of Funny Games Daily. Each and every weekday on a variety of platforms, we run you through the nerdy video game news you need to know about. If you like that, write into the show, kindafunny.com/KFGD. If you already beat God of War and have questions about that, write in for the spoiler cast, kindafunny.com/God of War. You can watch it later on youtube.com/kindafunnygames. You can listen later on podcast services around the globe, no matter where you get the show. Thank you so much. If you need even more content, Andrea, where can they find you?
They can find me at whatsgoodgames.com/podcasts. We're doing our Patreon exclusive streams this month, so if you want to get in on some drunken happy hour Q&A with me and the ladies, you got to go to patreon.com/whatsgoodgames. Just $1.
When's that?
That's tomorrow.
So
tomorrow evening.
How do you do like the running start where you're drinking before you go on air to get a good buzz going and then kick it on?
Yeah, we usually do shots.
Nice.
Like ahead of the stream.
All right.
And then we'll like tweet photos of said shots.
I've seen the shots. Yeah, I've seen the photos. I've seen that part. Yeah.
And somebody sent us custom shot glasses, which is really nice.
Well, how nice of them. Ladies and gentlemen, until next time, it's been our pleasure to serve you.